Tristana will be the first ban once again. So again, taking it away from Reason Gaming. I mean, last game, it gave them no late game alternative for them, so I can see it. Annie, again, banned away from Hiva. Really just a lot of respect bans. Zed against Takeful. These are all against particular players. We just don't want you to play this playstyle. Rumble at Smitty J.
Yeah, it's the same bans as last game, and I feel like, especially after game one, the Tristana ban is very smart. Just for the sense that you're banking on the fact that Celiva doesn't play any other scaling AD carries like the likes of a Cogmore, like a Jinx.
Like a Jinx, yeah.
So ban it out, get it out of there, don't allow them to go to the late game. Force them to make plays earlier.
So Johnny is the last ban from Gamers 2, and it will be responded by Nidalee. I do really feel that the Nidalee was a mistake to let that open in the last game, because it's Gilius' champion. Like, we've seen it over and over and over again. I mean, you can say that about every jungler is their champion, but still, he's so good on that. It will be the first pick Ahri, though, for Iker in the mid lane.
And I like this, actually. Ahri has been the champion that's flipped sides so far, and there's a lot of plays that can be made from that mid lane. Iker now getting a comfortable champion. This does, however, leave the Lulu open. That was the pick, that was the ban in the last game that wasn't actually chosen. So this is now a very different setup for both of these teams. You're forced now to be careful of the Lulu. Yeah,
so standard pretty much from Reason Gaming. They do go with the Gragas as the other top tier jungler right now in terms of Cinderhulk, apart from the Swajani.
Yep.
Does see the Janna coming out for Levick as well, so they do have some peel. Again, we see that combo of Janna and Gragas with the double ultimate being able to push people away. And we'll see if that comes into effect, what they choose to pick as AD carry. And they might go something like hyperscaling, like a Jinx. I mean, Celiva could go down that route.
Could do. Could very well do. That would be an option if he does have that Jinx comfortable in his playbook. A lot of players have been playing a lot more Jinx these days for that scaling. We already mentioned in the last one how good Kuban is on Irelia. They don't want to let him have that. They're going to go for round 2 on this Irelia.
All right, so Irelia in the top lane for Smitty J. It will be the Fresh coming in here. What do Reason Gaming do?
Hecarim's open, and we didn't see it have the greatest of effects outside of the laning phase here in the last game. Thresh now picked up for Hiva. This is the same setup, the same composition so far out of Gamers 2 as they just won with. So it's a little risky for Reason Gaming saying, hey, we don't think it was... basically, Reason is saying we don't think it was the comp, we just think it was how you played it. So Reason are playing a dangerous game.
They're banking on the fact that they can play the last game like this game and just go for those picks. We'll see if they just go directly down the route and just pick pick it all across the board.
Whoa, okay,
like,
okay.
Shyvana picked up Annie Urgot. Is this a key Urgot? What is this?
Okay, no, this is going to be Urgot AD carry. He's actually very strong right now. We saw Pinoy of Gambit picking the Urgot, but the more interesting thing, take a look at those summoners on Kuban in the top lane.
Yes.
This is what people have been talking about. Now, it was played in North American LCS, specifically Shyvana. Haunter played this matchup for Gravity in their quarterfinals game. I believe it lost.
Damn.
However, it is very strong from what people talk about. Essentially, you build Cinderhulk because you get just so much bonus health from it that your presence, not only in the lane with the damage that you get from having smite, so you can challenging smite somebody, and the damage reduction as well. There's so much that goes into these smite top lane plays. And on a champion like Shyvana who relies on her ultimate in place of flash sometimes, it's not too bad. I really am interested to see how this Shyvana plays out.
Oh yeah, there's so much that goes into that lane. Apparently you build like Thornmail, smite the Grump, and you sit on the AD carry. It's like, well, auto attack me and you'll kill yourself.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
So interesting. Okay, Games 2 do pick up the Corki, and like last game, and pick up the Vi. So they're going all in on this pick.
This is mid-game pick. Just again out of G2, or the only substitution really is just at this time they're going to have that Vi pick up.
Indeed.
Reason Gaming. He's going to pick a third champion that's a little bit out there. So we already kind of touched on the Urgot. By some AD carries, say he's very strong, top tier. It depends. It's locked. Okay, it depends on who you talk to, because now we get to talk about Vladimir.
Okay, we saw this by Xpec in the mid lane. We've seen it in top lane as well. We've seen it in both roles, and it's generally done well. It's great against the double tank meta, but we're not looking at double tank.
Essentially, what Reason Gaming are going to do here is sit on people in fights.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Like, Gragas is going to ult people. It allows Vlad to get in range to land his Hemo Plague. He can ghost in as well. Shyvana ults in, gets in the middle of the fights. You sit there, Gromp, Thornmail, Cinder Hulk, everything
Everyone
dealing
burns,
damage.
yeah.
This is a very strong team fighting composition, and towards the later game comp as well, with this Vladimir having scaling as well. So I'm tentatively worried at a late game situation where Corki is against 2 super tanks. But that's not the game being written off, because there's a lot of work still for Gamers 2 to do before that point. The pick composition worked last game. Can it work again?
And I'm just so excited for this matchup. But once again, as we load up onto the Rift, jump on Twitter and use those hashtags G2win or RGwin to vote, and we'll check in throughout the match. And wow, am I amped for these pick stress. Gamers 2 have held so much back to this final game just in case they needed it. They didn't even throw it in the second game. They just literally waited until they had to use these picks.
Reason just sat on it. Reason was just like, yeah, we're just going to save this for game 3. This is so much from around the world here.
Yeah,
this is
everything coming together.
We've seen a load of Vlad over in LCK. We've seen the Smite top laners in LCK. We've seen it in LPL and in North America as well.
The Urgot in all regions.
All regions. This is
EU, NA.
This is the first time we've really seen it bleed through to Challenger, and I'm excited to see how this game plays
Everything's coming together into this final game, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into this one. It is Gamers 2 up against Reason Gaming. Reason Gaming sitting in the red corner. Gamers 2 in the blue. Who will come up victorious in this one? It's all down to this game. Who will pick up the win? The winner will go to the promotion tournament. The loser will join us in summer. But there is so much on the line, and these teams are pulling out all of the stops.
And you know the meta has changed a lot with 5.5 and 5.6. When you look at a team composition, Smite top lane is acceptable now. Shyvana in the top lane as well. Vlad in the mid lane. Urgot is AD carry. I love this meta, Pulse. And we're heading for a level 1 fight, potentially, as well. Reason Gaming, they don't actually have the strongest of level 1s when you look at it. They'd be relying on a Janna Tornado, but these teams are actually going to pass by like ships in the night.
Indeed. It is also 4v5 if they did meet them, as Vladimir has not joined the rest of the team yet. Also, I have not seen Takefun as champion. Typically don't see Takefun go for those late game scalers. He just likes to go for the assassins every day. But we do have Gamers 2 now heading into the jungle and trying to get those wards down. So many pings. Everyone's converging on the same location. No Celery is leading the charge. Be coming up with those Acid Hunters sitting on the Battlecast Urgot. We do have everyone congregating on this area. Celery turns the corner. He knows that there is the hook. It goes right through the goalpost. There is the follow-up with the barrel. Kuban follows up as well. He has the burnout. They're trying to get in range. I mean, Reason Gaming don't have too much to get on top of them with. And Gamers 2 will be slunking out of the jungle. That was very almost explosive.
So, what I mean, I really want to focus on how this top lane is going to go in the early onset
and the
here
mid and
as
the
well.
bot.
And mid and bot, yeah. There's actually so much to watch in this game that I am so
I need more eyes
and
I need more screens.
Yeah, we just keep the pip up all times in the bottom left. One-on-one
and
match,
right.
one on the other.
Let's show everything.
Yeah, I mean, so Smite just went down on Wolves. So Shyvana is... We're going to have to keep track of who's got Smites here as well, because objective control over Dragons is going to be an interesting one. Kuban just smited Wolves. He's going to try and hit level 2 off that. I imagine he has started Burnout then as well. Yes, he has. And now he's going to teleport back into lane as Irelia has done a similar thing, but no smite for Irelia.
Yeah, we'll see what he maxes as well. We had this discussion whether he will max Burnout or Q. We'll see if that's the case. In bot lane, it is Hiva and Jeeves now trading off. Have some Acid Hunters. There's the hurt. Doesn't go.
And so the reason that Smite is something you can get away with on certain top laners, like Shyvana, who has a fairly short cooldown ultimate that has an escape to it. Rengar is another champion because of how mobile he is with your jump from the bushes and the ability to stealth out. We're expecting it on a couple of other champions, potentially Fizz, the likes. Champions that all have different escapes. Speaking of escapes, Celebi needs one.
So there's the double play as well from Hiva. Fantastic play, but that is the exhaust going down to Jeebus as well. Follows up with the auto attacks. Derek will turn around and get his own damage down onto the bot lane of Gamers 2. Lots of trading already. Both AD carries are a little bit low.
Celebi saved his flash, did force heal, Ignite was used, Exhaust was used, so summoners do get traded in favor of G2. We actually saw that Urgot not really work out too well for Pinoy in the games against the Unicorns of Love this past weekend. It did fine.
It won that game.
Yeah, it won the first game, but the subsequent games, it wasn't the Urgot that was the problem, but it just didn't shine. Zayu, however, is looking for another early gank. This time he's down into the bottom lane very early on. Here comes the slow from Celeva's auto attacks.
He's a little low on mana though, but Hiva is left out to dry by Jeebus once again. There's the play onto Free, but he is dropping low. There's the heal out from Jeebus to get him away. Extra movement speed and the heal will be nice. And Zai will back away temporarily from this. He'll be throwing out the barrel roll just in a second. Now he goes over a ward.
This early on, it is so difficult for Urgot to land consistent damage in this. So you have to hit the Corrosive Charge. That's 50 mana. Every Acid Hunter is 40 mana on top of that, and he only has 350 mana right now. So until you get that tier, until you start getting mana items and stacking up, you have to be absolutely sure you're going to hit both of those, otherwise the mana investment makes it very difficult. And you can see Jeebus is now just dodging out here, and Celeva is pretty low on mana himself. But looking at this middle lane, Take Fun is just going to be buying time here.
Yep, that's pretty much it. Is the Vlad lane. He's just trying to farm up against this Ahri in the mid here. We'll be coming up with the autos, and it's quite a bunch of CS there.
He's ahead though.
Misjudged the E damage, the Tides of Blood. And now Gamers 2 are still ahead in terms of the fan vote. Yeah. Flip-flopping a lot in this series. It was 55, now it's 60 over to Gamers 2. And I mean, this game literally can go either way. Both teams have demonstrated their strengths. Take Fun keeps missing CS very slightly. He's like 2 HP away.
So, top lane, we haven't really seen the impact of this smite just yet. It's because, obviously, there's no challenging smite here available, so SmittyJ is free to just sit in this lane. So Kuban needs to buy himself a time as well. Reason Gaming is sitting on a comp that needs to scale. Kuban needs items. He needs to be able to get that damage reduction on SmittyJ and make sure that he doesn't actually die in these trades. The same with Vlad. Vlad needs to just get his ult, get that level 9 point where he can really start taking control of that lane and then transition to team fights.
Well, Gilius wins the crab fight, and he gets the crab, rewarded with 80 gold. Top lane, it's Zayu taking these Krugs. Gilius does not feel like he wants to gank top right now. Kuban has indeed maxed his burnout. And SmittyJ is actually alternated between W and E. Typically you see one or the other, but he's gone both. Gilius now moving into the jungle, maxing Bolt Breaker as per usual. Trying to get these wards down perhaps. No, he doesn't actually have any wards, and there's no Krugs. But he might try his hand at top lane. But that is ultimate from Kuban now. They
know that the top lane is warded as well, but as you said, Kuban has his ultimate. That is not a Shyvana you want to try and gank. So Shyvana set on about 1,400 gold. Is the first back going to be for Cinderhulk, or is it going to be... Yeah, Cinderhulk and Challenging Smite will come from the same thing. Smite top laners, I'm like, you give me a jungler and I'm like, got it. I nailed it. But Smite top laners is still very, very new here, so I assume he's just going to back away, pick up that Balmy Cinder and the Challenging Smite, the Skirmisher's Saber.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing... Well, this is the second game we've seen of it so far from my memory.
At least in the Western
in the Western
regions.
world,
yeah. We have seen a number of LPL games. I believe LGD were one of the teams that has been running, specifically Rengar, with Smite in that top lane. So there's been a little variance, but it's still a fairly new tactic.
Yeah, it would be nice just to have more games, more case studies.
Oh,
pretty
double
much.
ward on
double
a pink.
ward. Look at the value. 60 gold in the bank. Got him. And they are slightly ahead in gold because of it. Fantastic. But yeah, the more games we see, the more the better. And top lane Kuban is still not gone back to base yet. In fact, he hasn't even exhausted all his potions yet, so why even go back right now? He even has the teleport. And there's a minion wave pushing towards him. He is sitting on 1,700 gold. They are farming fairly similarly. Mid lane, there is a slight advantage to Vladimir, but really nothing to write home about as it is so even. SmittyJ with the Transcendent Blaze in top lane, but Kuban, well, he doesn't have any mana issues since he doesn't have mana. He has Fury. He'll be farming underneath this turret.
Got it.
Going to be securing those cannon minions every single time. Okay. Now he goes back. It should
so now
be
he's
the
going back.
Cinderhulk, yeah.
Yeah, it should be the Cinderhulk here, I would expect. I mean, as I said, it's still a fairly new concept, but there we go. Yeah, Cinder Hulk has been picked up.
I want to see if he drive by. Oh, I mean, he's on the red side.
He's
of
on
that,
red
so he
side,
can't
yeah.
drive by smite the Gromp, which is what he would like to do.
Yes, that's a blue side strat that just makes your trading in lane so effective. But one of the things we now have to watch for is Kubon using that challenging smite. Not only do you get the true damage, which is nice, but one of the biggest factors is the 20% damage reduction that you get from your opponent when you smite them with that. So it's a really nice trading tool. And especially with some of the buffs that came to Shyvana on her Q and her E recently, that's a very difficult lane to try and trade against. I'm really intrigued to see how it goes in the Aurelia matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Trundle thing where you just click R, or in this case, you click your jungle item. It's like, oh, I win this trade now for the next couple of seconds, so you have to just run away from me. There's the burnout. And doesn't get the stun down, only gets the slow, and Kubon will take this opportunity to chunk him as he lands the Flame Breath as well for the extra % damage.
Oh.
Remember, a couple patches ago, it did get buffed by 0.5%, so it's 2.5% now of max HP, which turns out to be quite a lot when you auto-attack Twin Fang, or Twin Bite, sorry.
It is, and you can see how tanky Kubon is right now. I still have faith in Smitty J. He showed us a great Aurelia game last game. If he can do the same, it will be very good for Gamers 2. Remember, Gamers 2 are going to look for mid-game picks. Reason Gaming will look to team fight, but bottom lane engage.
With the box, there's the teleport coming in from both of the top lanes. This is about to get real messy real quickly. There's the ultimate from Gillis. He gets it onto Zelova. He'll be flashing away. There's the first blood. Goes to the top laner, and it will now Kubon trying to kill the back line. He is so tanky, but he gets hooked as well, and he gets dragged into the firing line, looking for this Lantern to come through, but he's still not dead. There's also the shield. Ica from the top side. They're looking for the dive. Zayu does not have his ultimate. He'll be following up, looking for the charm here. We'll be using another charge. He'll be getting Libic, looking for another onto Kubon. Do they have the damage? There's the Orb of Deception. One more auto attack. He'll be flashing in for the Foxfires. Zayu with the barrel roll. Not enough damage. And G2 come up big.
G2 with a great play here, exploiting the early game weaknesses of Reason Gaming, and now they're shoving onto a tower. Zelova put himself right in the middle of the fight with the hyperkinetic position reverser right at the beginning of that after the teleports, and you can see which top laner has a greater effect at this point. Shyvana is not quite the massive tank that she needs to be with just that Cinder Hulk right now, and just couldn't land the damage, didn't have that extra Gromp, doesn't have a Thornmail. She only has the Cinder Hulk right now. And Smite was not available either to challenge someone and prevent them from dealing more damage. So we're actually going to take another look, because this early game gank, Zelova took so much damage to begin this one off. And the hook land, no, the hook didn't land. Okay, I was baited. I was baited by this replay starting. This is some laning. I mean, Libic gets chunked a lot, and Zelova's looking to go in. As, okay, so there's the exhaust onto Jeebus, and we're back to Dragon.
We're not even going to see it.
It's all good. So at that point, yeah. So it's to do with Zelova putting himself out of position. Teleport coming in from Shyvana was a little bit awkward when it comes to the positioning in the positioning in the fight, but. Yeah, I've lost track. Okay, Shyvana died. That is the key thing.
Here's some laning, here's some more laning, here's some harass.
Hey, I mean, I said we're interested in Urgot laning.
Yeah, I mean,
it's all good.
Yeah, I'm fine with seeing it again, man. And Smitty J in top lane, he is just taking out these minions. So yeah, Kubon so far has not had a huge amount of pressure, but I mean, they do scale. We're looking at the Vladimir here. He's trying to get into that late game. Has gone for the Hextech Revolver. We'll be going to that Will of Ancients, which is typical. And we might see an Abyssal as well. Generally the item build from Vladimir. Top lane is still just kind of bumping heads. These two big, fairly tanky members of the team. And that 2-kill Aurelia is definitely ahead. Stop recalling.
There we go.
Okay.
He was figured out what's up.
Yeah, so in terms of item builds, Zelova has gone for that tier now. And has also picked up the Brutalizer. So going towards the items we kind of expect. The Romana, of course, keep those stacks rolling.
One thing that I really like about this game is that G2 have basically said, okay, you can play some crazy stuff. We'll just keep doing what we're doing. We'll just keep playing our strong mid-game composition. We'll get our Triforce champions. We'll do exactly what we did to you last game. And we'll shut the game out before this goes late. That's not to say Reason Gaming have the absolute best late game. I still think that Gamers 2 can compete over objectives, can compete, especially with a split-pushing Aurelia. Depends how huge Shyvana gets towards the end. But I like that G2 just aren't phased by a Vladimir, Shyvana, Urgot composition.
Yeah, it's nice to see, and Kubon is now in this top lane, speaking of that Shyvana, just trying to defend this turret. Should be able to get it, though. Kubon is a little ways off his level 11 for that other power spike. Lipika's only level 6, though, but he's going into the top lane just to help him out. There's a lot of members converging on top lane.
Yeah, Takefun is now past level 9 as well, so he has that fully maxed Q, I would imagine. Yeah, it is rank 5, 3 ranks in Tides of Blood as well. So it's a bit tricky for Ica to sit here in this lane with Takefun just sustaining everything he throws at him back.
Luden's Echo picked up in the mid lane by Ica. Once again, that is the item build of choice for Ahri. Ward battle going on in the top lane, and that blue buff does go over to Gamers 2 because there's so much pressure in the top lane by Reason Gaming. They got nothing for it, and Gileas said, okay, I guess I'll just take your jungle now, and he'll take that pink ward as well. So yeah, Reason Gaming in this game have definitely gone for something a little bit different, and they're trying to make plays from that different playstyle, but Gamers 2 are just playing it standard and getting more for it currently. Zaya will have to jump away. There's the Assault and Battery. It is Aurelia looking to follow up, but Kubon is there to challenging Smite. Moves on to Gileas. That's a lot of damage coming out. The burnout. Oh, the damage. He jumps over the wall. I don't think he even knew how much damage he was going to deal. Kills him before he even gets over. Smitty J will be following up into this Vladimir. He has Sanguine Pool. He has all the summoners. He has Emo Plague. So Smitty J will probably not want to jump on that Vladimir right now. But that is a kill in return for Reason Gaming. Kubon is getting pretty big.
Did you just call it Emo Plague?
Emo Plague. I was hoping you weren't going to notice.
It's okay. We can just release Emo Plague Vladimir as
Teemo Plague.
Oh, no. I mean, no, we already had that. That was
yeah.
week 5 of the European Challenger Series, is exactly what that was. But you can see the damage coming out from Kubon there already. As you said, I don't think he realized he'd quite killed Gileas, but he also got himself out of the situation, is another key thing there. So Kubon gets himself on the board with the first kill for himself. To be honest, most of the lanes are actually drawing fairly even right now. We joked about it before this game, about how this game could just be very even throughout. Small gold lead in favor of Gamers 2. Dragon lead is in favor of Reason Gaming here. And again, any scaling composition that can start picking dragons up early is going to benefit them. It allows them to pull the early game earlier, pull the later game earlier into the game. That's a lot of early and late games. Yeah. But it's just a good sign for Reason.
It is, and I'm also wondering how Gamers 2 are going to chunk through 2 mega tanks. Say that 5 times fast. Because you have the % damage from Vi, but it forces Corki to build something like a Blade of the Ruin King, because great they have this mid-game spike, but late game, when you have Shyvana, Gragas, like, how do you even kill that? You go on Vladimir, and he's gonna pull, and then he's gonna Zhonya's, and then who do you go for?
If it gets to that point, I agree.
Yeah.
If it gets to the point where Shyvana and Gragas have 4 or 5 items and they're exceptionally tanky, it does become difficult for G2 to kill them. At that point, you're kind of hoping you can get objectives without fighting and just kind of forcing Reason to be around areas. Very similar, actually, to what Origin had to do in their series against Reason last week. That ultimately was a very close 2-1 series. So G2 could look to do the same. They just have to be a little careful of the scaling potential of Reason Gaming. Ward clearing has started to come out from G2. 20 seconds until the Dragon as well. But Trinity Force is completed onto Corki. Oh, Charm has landed.
Onto Takefun. Still has pull though, so Ike's going to be keeping his combo to his chest right now. But yeah, these are some big power spikes coming out from Gamers 2 for this Dragon. This will be difficult to fight over for Reason.
And the levels for Reason, when you look at it, now you've got the 2nd rank of Kubon's ultimate, the 2nd rank of Takefun's ultimate as well. That is a good timing for Reason on this Dragon. Gileas has been spotted by that pink ward.
Oh, flash hook. Another flash away to get away from it.
Forces Celiva's flash. Yeah. Support for AD carry flash.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Especially when Celiva with the position reverser is likely going to put himself into danger.
He still has a big shield though. Remember, his shield now scales from his mana, and also he'll have the Livic shield. But top lane Smitty J will be taking his turret away. His Gamers 2 also stalling a dragon, so they're getting the best of both worlds currently. And it doesn't look like Reason Gaming are too interested in fighting. I mean, it makes sense. Item spikes are so strong right now from Gamers 2. Don't want to go up against it, even though they do have those... those spikes of their own. Livic gets hooked from Heaver. He should be going down. There's Gilius' ultimate for good measure. He gets taken out by Jeebus' rocket. Gilius will be taking the Fresh Expressor away from this. There's the flash. There's the ult. There is the Orb of Deception. And Iker will be taking away the kill onto Vladimir underneath the turret, and even meets up with his team for the middle turret.
Smitty J didn't even teleport in there, and Kubon couldn't because there was no damage follow-up for Reason Gaming. They're running 2 damage threats and scaling pretty much everywhere else across the map. Celiva doesn't really yet have the damage to take those kind of fights, so that's a turret, a dragon, all in favor of G2, and that top turret is low as well. G2 could get a second turret out of this trade if, well, before too long.
Yeah, Gamers 2 right now really just abusing their mid-game power spike fantastically. Took the middle turret, took the dragon, taking all of these objectives with the knowledge that Reason Gaming cannot challenge them currently. And they're just utilizing their pick-com. It's just perfect play. It's kind of what we said about the first game from Reason Gaming. They're just doing everything well, and that's what Gamers 2 are doing in this game. They have the kills onto the carries. Pretty much perfect. They have the challenging smite as well from Gilius, so he has that to match Kubon. He's gone for the actually gone for the Sightstone this game, so he's prioritizing that vision, which we can see all over the map right now. There's a lot of vision coming out from Gamers 2.
Man, Kubon just picked up a Warmog's armor as well. He is just stacking health, trying to get as much bonus health as he can. Currently getting a plus 318 bonus health from his Cinderhulk right now.
Almost the Giant Spell.
Yeah, that's actually quite a worthwhile investment for now. Jeebus, oh, careful, that's a very tanky Shyvana.
Yeah, there's not much you can do about it. He'll hit you, he'll slow you.
The rest of the team's around, though. There was a Lantern coming, so... although Jeebus should get the message that he may need to start looking towards a Blade of the Ruined King against Double Tank. It's not something that you'll usually see on a Corki all that often, but against Double Tank, it's
not
typically the preferred build path.
I mean, that's the great thing about having the Shyvana here. Celiva does get caught in the mid lane, doesn't land the charm, only hits it on a minion, and will receive the Acid Hunters in return. So he has to pay the price. There is the barrel from Zayu to try and zone him away. Successfully does so. He'll take away that ward. So they do keep that line of wards, but you can generally just see the pressure built up by Gamers 2 by where their wards are currently. Kubon looking for this engage onto these 2 players, but the Flay will keep him away. And
that's a tanky Shyvana.
Yeah, he's not going down in a hurry, that's for sure, but they still need some more time to scale up.
They do, and honestly, this Reason composition is actually very good at not only reducing the damage being done by Gamers 2, as Take Fun's going to take a lot of damage from Smitty J, but now you're trading against Vladimir, he's going to get most of that back.
Oh, there's the Assault and Battery. Slam dunk takes him down. Here comes the teleport, though, by Shyvana. Corki doesn't have anything to stop him from the top lane. Trying to get in range. Gilius will be not interrupted, just ride the wave with the Vault Breaker. Kubon has no way of effectively slowing him. Mid lane, though, it's the 2-man push against Celiva. He does get charmed. He does get hit by the Q, but so Heaver underneath the
position reverser.
Position reverser takes him out. He's now going up against Iker. Takes 1 tower shot, takes 2. Zayu not quite in range to follow up with the damage, but in the 1-on-2 in the mid lane, Celiva comes up big. Oh,
Celiva just making complete use of that 60 bonus armor and magic resist during the channeling of the position. In fact, he had just hit the point at which he had like 90 right? Plus from rank 2, but this tower is in a lot of trouble right now. G2 have got to be careful. They've got to back away after this. But that was one of the points that I was going to make, is that the later this game goes for G2, they will struggle to output damage because of the resistances not only on the Mega Tanks, but you look at Celiva will have that reduced damage during the channel and slightly after. Also, the damage that will be done from the tanks is going to be exacerbated by the Hemo Plague. So there's a lot of damage amplification going on here from Reason Gaming, and a lot of damage reduction.
Yeah, Reason Gaming want long fights, though, to try and get the overtime damage from the Cinderhooks, the overtime damage from Vladimir. Like, it's not a lot of burst damage, it's trying to grind them down over time, whereas Gamers 2, if they pick someone, they're all about killing one dude. So I'm not entirely sure if the fights will get prolonged, but obviously that is proportional to how tanky the tanks are from Reason.
And it also is now dependent on the decision-making from Gamers 2 and Reason Gaming. Gamers 2 have enough of a lead that they should shut Reason down now with getting dragons, getting towers, stopping them from getting immensely tanky. However, if they misplay, if Reason outplay, there's still room for Reason to stay in this game. Gamers 2 are certainly ahead, and they should certainly be getting the next dragon.
I am concerned about Reason Gaming's wave play though, if it gets to that point, because yeah, they have a lot of it, but it's all melee range.
Yes, that's the other problem. Is not really any easy way. You're basically reduced to Vlad and Jana.
Yeah, not super great. Iker moving with his team, rotating to the bottom lane here, just trying to take this turret down. Reason Gaming, do they opt for a fight though? Because they are 5 members here. SmittyJ does have his teleport. This will get into a very messy fight. There's the teleport coming out. Kuban into the back lines, uses the Dragon Descent. Oh, Gideus as well has been caught out. He'll have to flash away. He moves on to the Kuban. Kuban is so tanky. He's tanking with 5 people. He finally dies. Limit gets hooked as well by Heaver. He will also be going down. There's the Ignite. Oh, big one from over the wall. 3 kills,
Celebor's
4
down.
kills. And Iker finally dies. Jeepus will not be dying, and he's the important one. Gideus tries to get the kill onto Take Fun. Everyone is fairly low here from Gamers 2 though, but it's not a 4v1 that Take Fun can take right now.
SmittyJ's just running body blocker here. Nothing that Take Fun can do here. Forces him out of the fight. They're actually going to push for an inhibitor turret right now, and this is again G2 playing around this spike that they've had in their itemization and their damage, and Reason haven't got into the point of the game where their composition really is going to have its full effect. That's an exposed inhibitor at 24 minutes.
That being said, Reason Gaming did that in game 1.
True.
However, they did win. So
this is a larger mountain though than in
is.
game 1. G2 now turn to Dragon. They should get this, and they are in a good spot. Reason need to kind of hunker down and just try and stop G2 from pushing that inhib, but that's difficult with it exposed now.
Yeah, Gamers 2 just picked up that second dragon, which is the tower destruction, so they'll be dealing extra damage to those. And typically where you draw the line is at those inhibitor turrets, so Reason Gaming no longer really have that luxury, so they just have to push out their base anyway. In terms of a straight-up team fight, as long as they're together, they won that overtime damage, but it was just Kuban caught up by himself. SmittyJ just flashed back to his team because there was no reason for him to be there 1v5, and Kuban was just split. So in a perfect fight, they still have a pretty good chance, but that last team fight put them even further behind.
Yes, it did. And getting further behind against this composition of G2, which is now going to ideally look towards that top side with Aurelia down in the bottom lane. I do wonder whether SmittyJ can actually sit in a lane against Kuban, though, when Kuban's smite is up. I believe Kuban actually did just... No, he used smite but didn't smite Gromp. What did he smite? Did he smite Wolves? He did.
Rift Spirit.
Yeah. Interesting that he would not for that extra damage.
He's found Heaver. Value. So Kuban will be going back to base here. He does have teleport fairly soon, should be on a couple seconds now. And he is even with CS in the top lane, and pretty much across the board the CS is even. It's really just the kills which are the big difference. And G2 are just pushing in this minion wave, trying to pick up that inhibitor most likely. That will be an even fight if they can get up there. However, top lane is pushing for Reason Gaming. They were able to slow push that, so they will have to deal with that eventually. However, sitting in this base gate, they can't be seen currently.
For G2 though, it's only an outer tower that is slow pushing into, so G2 are more than happy. That was a Righteous Glory popped.
Hook on to Kuban. Don't want to engage on top of him. Celeber follow up with a Muramana. Another hook onto Celeber. That's the engage that they want. They will be pulling the trigger. Goodbye, Celeber. Take Fun pulls into the back lines, but he won't be surviving for much longer. Assault and Battery. He takes him down. In fact, that's a shutdown onto Corki. Everyone is getting ripped apart in this fight. Kuban with the overtime damage. Those 2 big tanks, so difficult to kill. They're basically as healthy as you can get. Iker and SmittyJ will have to turn tail and run. A 2 for 3. Reason Gaming come out on top.
G2 went too deep off that fight. They got Celeber, which was exactly what they need in these fights. He's the squishiest of the carries right now. The problem with that is the rest of the team was just sitting there, and we talked about how Reason won a team fight just sat on one spot with those Cinder Hulks dealing so much damage, with Reason not taking a lot. Let's take another look at this fight, because the hook was brilliant onto Celeber, although his shield had already started, and he put damage down onto Jeebus. They blow him up before anything, and then Take Fun in the middle of the fight is just going to vamp tank his way through so much of this early game damage. Kubon sits in the fight too with Burnout running, and from there, G2 just cannot sit there. And it's a double kill for Kubon in a cleaner fight than Reason should really have got there.
Yeah, and as soon as Jeebus fell, they had no damage against those tanks at all. He's gone for that Blade of Ruin King, like we mentioned, Stress, and I mean, if you don't have him, then you're never going to kill them. He was basically never auto-attacking in that fight, because immediately he got Hemo-played, got hit by the full combo by Vlad and had to Valkyrie away, so he never had an impact on that fight. Gamers 2 need to continue to get good fights for them, because every fight they've won so far has been in their advantage. It hasn't been a straight-on brawl.
Here's the thing, though. Why would you choose a head-on fight in front of the inhibitor with a pick composition against a team fighting composition? Why would you not set the rest of the map up and let the Aurelia work in the other lane? Yes, we've already assessed that Aurelia against a tank isn't exactly the easiest thing to do, but all you're doing is buying time and putting pressure on the enemies. You're not wanting Aurelia to 1v1 that Shyvana. As long as Shyvana doesn't 1v1 you dead, you should be okay. That's just a judgment call that Smitty J has to figure out when that point is that he can't sit there. I actually hazard a guess it's probably already hit. The fact of the matter is, G2 need to play the vision control game and need to push elsewhere rather than trying to brute force head on. Well,
that's exactly what Gamers 2 are doing right now. They're trying to do something a little bit different. There's the teleport onto the tower. It's fairly low, though. That might actually be cancelled if it does go down like that. In fact, it will be the case. There's the follow-up with the ultimate as well. Take Fun drop very low. There's the Assault and Battery now moving on to Celeber underneath this turret. Zayu's dropped very low. Kubon only now enters into the fight. Hyper-kinetic position reversal underneath the tower onto Jeebus, but Kubon's on the back line. He's so tanky, but there's no one with him. There's no one else to deal the damage with him. There's the shutdown. They eventually destroyed the Shyvana, and that is a 2-for-1 trade. They still have Jeebus alive. They can siege this turret.
Yeah, this is another inhibitor tower going down now. Celeber did somehow survive that fight, but with 2 being down, Reason Gaming are going to lose their first inhib here. No minions in the bottom lane is going to be a tough inhib to take, and now G2 just need to hightail it out of here because Celeber is chasing, but still, that fight was so extended. G2, however, take a big advantage from that.
Yeah, that was just really well thought out by Gamers 2. They kind of tested the waters in bot lane because it's like, well, we're really far ahead right now. We have this 10k advantage and we have these item spikes. Can we just beat them in a 5-on-5? No, let's just back up. Let's just play it smart. And they took another inhib. Or the first inhib.
Yeah, and Kubon couldn't get into that fight. That's a massive part of their fight. Kubon had to run there. And if he doesn't get there early on, G2 kind of just have enough damage to deal with one tank. It's when both tanks are in the fight causing trouble that they can't sit there.
It was actually a poor teleport because he teleported on the dying tower, and as soon as the tower died, it cancelled the teleport. So it meant that he had to just run from base. He had to teleport back. And the fight went downhill from there. Had he actually managed to teleport into the fight at that point, that would have been a very different story.
Oh, Dragon is coming up with the inhib down in the top side. This is the old thing about Baron. With the opposite side of the map inhib down, this now allows you to almost take the objective uncontested. So now that top is down, Dragon should be a very easy take for Gamers 2. Especially with teleport not being available for Kubon. There's no real way of being 5-on-5 without top lane pushing in, but Kubon's already down by the Dragon.
Yeah, Reason Gaming, this is a big commitment though. They have the minion wave pushing in. It's kind of a battle against time.
Double smite, twice as much chance to steal. Oh, G2 are just going to cut this off. They've already got minions on the inhib turret.
Nice. However, can they close in from behind? Because this will be a head-on engagement if Reason Gaming can all get in at the same time. Zayu over the wall. They're trying to defend this turret. The minion wave has gone. They're going to go up to the top side. Kubon is there to split them off. He goes in for the engage, lands the Dragon Descent onto 2. It will be the rest of the team closing in from behind. He's so tanky, no one can auto-attack him right now. And Gilius drops low. Smitty J will be falling. He's cut off from the pack. And the chase is continuing from Take Fun. Comes out with the Hemo play, comes in with the pull. Celeber on the front line.
Position reverser.
Gets the suppress down. Kubon's there. He gets Assault and Battery. But do they have the damage? Jeebus is alive. He has the percent damage to chunk him out. And that was a 2-for-2. This is very close in this game.
A 2-for-2 with a 10,000 gold lead in favor of Gamers 2. Gamers 2 pull off the Dragon. They got a Nexus turret. That's the key factor that makes all the difference, and they get the Dragon here. So from what looked like an even fight, the damage is now done for Gamers 2. Reason Gaming hold the fight very well because of how the fight split up. Take Fun hit his Ghost and just ran into the back line of Gamers 2 and forced them up out of the jungle. That was how the fight panned out, but overall the objectives go in favor of Gamers 2.
Yeah, I mean, that's why the fight was so difficult for them.
Yeah.
Because Reason Gaming, they had to win the fight definitively in a small enough time frame, because when you have those two inhibs exposed, when you have that inhib down, then those super minions are going to take your base eventually. It's just whether you can close it out. So Gamers 2 have to play the longer team fight. Funnily enough, Reason Gaming, they have to go for those longer team fights because they've gone for this overtime damage. It's just a lose-lose situation for them, which is very annoying when you're playing a comp which can still stand up to this composition of Gamers 2 when they're around 10k behind.
There's a Thornmail.
There's
with
the
the Cinderhulk, with the challenging Smite. We don't quite see the Gromp.
No, he's not had the chance to get anywhere near it.
Yeah, he's not been able to go over there. I wonder whether Kubon will actually, I wonder whether Smitty J will actually go and take that away.
It's a lot of damage. It's around like 250 damage at this stage. It's actually a lot.
It's a big amount of damage. But one thing that Smitty J is itemizing for is against his double tank. Blade of the Ruin King, looking towards it on an Irelia. Not a standard item choice at all. The only real player we've seen that from is Whirlib. And that's because he likes to build like Jax.
Oh, Reason Gaming are sitting on a ward. They do go in for this engagement, but the teleport's now coming in from Kubon.
Maybe too deep.
He'll be going in for this, still coming onto the back line again. Iker is zoned away from Kubon, but he's very low himself. He'll have to dash away from this. That's the kill onto Smitty J. It's now a 4v5. The front line is still alive. Top lane's pushing in. That's a big minion wave. Gilius now is porting back, and they're pressuring the Baron while someone has to recall for this minion wave.
Yeah, that's the problem, is Reason Gaming are always...
Kiva flash hook doesn't land.
They're always concerned with this top lane, but now Zayu's caught out.
They're focusing him down. Take Fun also has to pull away. There's a great Howling Gale. Can he get in range? Hiva will have to flash again, but he doesn't, of course, have it. There's a cooldown to that thing. It was Kubon who went back to base because he was low enough. He was the one to go for it. And I think there's enough zoning by Gamers 2 where they have pushed them away. Yeah, it's not going to be Zayu trying to smite it away. And this will be so difficult for Reason Gaming to hold on now.
And the slow pushing minions in the bottom lane as well, pressuring the inhibitor. They won't get it, but it forces Kubon to go down there and deal with another wave of minions as well. So now the Baron buff is in their favor. Inhibs have respawned, but at the same time, now you just put a couple of members in top lane, and then Smitty J can go towards the bottom lane, maybe the inverse of that, and you just push the two inhibs down and then regroup. Because at that point, you've got two waves of super minions with the Baron buff. You let them push in, head mid lane, get the last inhib. And from there, Reason Gaming, they have a comp that can team fight still. We've seen these desperate team fights in the late game, but Gamers 2 got themselves so much of a lead so far that it's down to one mistake from Reason. Yep. We'll lose them this game.
Yeah, and Gamers 2 have to make a plethora of mistakes for Reason Gaming to really regain control over this game. There's so much vision within Reason Gaming's jungle from Gamers 2. They are really just tightening screws right now. It is going to take another couple nails in the coffin, though. As you mentioned, Reason Gaming can still team fight, but Gamers 2 are so far ahead. They need to get the right pick, though. They're looking for the engage. There's the smite coming down. We'll be knocking both of those players against the wall, but there's the teleport in from Irelia. Trying to get onto the back lines. He may be going down. He jumps into all of the members. There's the position reverser. He'll be going down. Kubon will be doing the same. Was it enough, though? Hemo Plague onto 3 players. Take Fun will be Zoniazing up. Libic as well of the Monsoon. Gillis should be falling. Bonks him on the head by Zayu. There's a 2-for-1 in favor of Reason Gaming. This is getting scary. Gamers 2 cannot afford to scale up.
That was a suicidal teleport. You know you're pushing the top lane already, and the rest of the team have backed away against a composition that will split you from the remaining members of your team, and you complete that teleport? into a double tank with exhaust and challenging smite. You're not killing anyone when you arrive, and yet you just put yourself in the middle of the enemy team and give them the engage. That was one mistake now by G2 that could potentially bring Reason Gaming back in this game. However, Reason Gaming still behind on Dragons. This Dragon in a minute 30 would be Gamers2's 4th if they secure it. Baron buff is about to wear out if it hasn't already. I believe it's already done. No, Ica still has it for about a quarter of the buff. So, man, G2, that was the mistake they could afford.
Yeah. However, Reason Gaming need to keep this up though, Stress, because they are literally one team fight away from losing their promotion tournament spot.
And at the same time, though, Reason have itemized for this. Thornmail was already completed. Now they're Anduin's for extra damage reduction. They know that they can blow up Ica, and Ica is actually not going to have too much of an effect. They've got the Locket. They've got a Last Whisper onto Celever as well to just deal with Vi and Irelia as quickly as possible. The itemization is there from Reason Gaming, still to hold on to this game. G2 have to just compose themselves and not make that same mistake again.
This is so intense though, Stress. One team fight either way can take a huge chunk either for Reason Gaming or just end it for Gamers2. And there's a hook over the wall. It lands onto Zayu, not quite the engage they want. There's the charm not quite landing. As you mentioned, they need to stay composed. This is a lot on the line.
The problem is, without teleport, Smitty J and the rest of Gamers2 have to set their waves up. You can't you can't be lazy about this at this point. Big Wave is pushing away from Reason Gaming's base in the top lane, and with no teleport, that means Smitty J can't stay there, so he has to be with the team. So there's only one wave of pressure in the bottom lane where all 5 members of the team are, and we already saw that fight not go their way every time they try and brute force. They get a dragon, though. That's putting them on that tipping point of 5. And again, we talked about it, scaling compositions, giving away dragons is not the key thing. So G2 still in the lead, but Reason Gaming, every minute this game goes longer is it's a precarious minute.
Yes, it is indeed. Reason Gaming, though, with both their inhibitors up, it will be a clean fight, a 5v5 in the bottom lane or the top lane, depending on where Gamers2 want to go. 9 towers to 0. They are now pushing the middle lane. This will be all of the inhibitors exposed if they take this away. Ica just needs to tap it a couple more times and it will go down. Kuban now sitting there. He'll be tanking for the turret again. Zayu gets hooked, but that's the perfect person for Reason Gaming. They do want those tanks to be on the front line, taking those auto attacks and all of those CC abilities. Jeebus. So many Acid Hunters from Celever. If he gets corrosive charged once, they have to back away. And this is what they've done right here. Now Reason Gaming push out of the base. There is a big minion wave top. The ball is now actually in Reason Gaming's court. They have control for a couple seconds over this game.
Yeah, for now. They have enough to get a tower and ward, and that's about it. Then they have to, again, respect the pushing power of Gamers2. How much health is Shyvana on? 4,859 health currently on
300
Shyvana.
armor.
Yeah, and 502 of that health is coming from the Cinderhulk.
Wow, value.
So they're very difficult to kill now at Reason Gaming, and this feels like how strong they should be at about 50 minutes, but we're 40 minutes in. That's not the biggest of distinctions, but okay, important objectives coming up. We've got 1 minute 30 until Baron. We've got about 4.5 minutes until Dragon, which would be the 5th Dragon for Gamers2. Theoretically, either of those objectives should win Gamers2 this game, if they can take it without any kind of contest from Reason Gaming.
Yeah, Reason Gaming do have the ability to push out, though, because there's no longer super minions always pushing towards them, so they're not constrained by that factor anymore. And they are so itemized. They still have a little bit of room to grow, but not by much. So they're not quite critical mass, but they're pretty close. Libic over the wall with the warding. They're trying to get this pick onto the mid lane. This could get explosive real quickly. Here's the ultimate going onto Celeber. There's the hook as well. It lands. Eva gets the flay onto 2 members. Libic in the back line, zone them away. Now Kuban, Zayu are there. How much can they do? Jeebus, he is chunking through that back line, but there's the dragon to set back into the team fight. Eva goes down. The AD carries down for Reason Gaming. This is a 4-on-3.
Smitty J's dead.
Smitty J's down. He evaporated. That's another kill onto Jeebus. He just doesn't have the damage to deal with the mega tanks. There's the triple kill coming out for Take Third. They have 4 for one, Stress, and now Reason Gaming turn it around.
They've completely turned this game on its head. Reason Gaming with this double tanks, double smite, Cinderhulk composition have so much late game damage in these fights, and Gamers 2 do not have enough damage to chunk through this armor that the Shyvana has right now with the Thornmail as well. Jeebus is just killing himself in these fights.
The flash forwards. Take Fun trying to get underneath this turret. He's already used his flash, he's already used his ghost, but he was a couple health away from just losing an inhib straight up. But he is still 1 versus 4. What do Reason Gaming take away from this? Baron is live, bottom tower goes down from Kubon. They just picked up a lot off the back of that fight.
They didn't.
And let's actually take a look at that fight once again.
So even in this fight, look at Kubon, he's teleporting into the back of the fight. Celaver gets blown up so early on here, and Kubon just sits on the carries of Gamers 2. And look how little damage he's actually taking, ults himself out because he knows that he's a little too low. By this point, Take Fun has already dropped 2 in this fight. Xayou over the wall. Hello, that's a stray Gragas coming through. Gilius doesn't have enough. Oh, Libic's been caught.
Libic, can he get erased? Last Foxfires and last ultimate will take him away. There's the hook onto Kubon. Another pick here could be disastrous, but he's so tanky. There is the charm. Xayou again. There's another hook as well. Follow through, looking for the teleport now by Smitty J, trying to get in range. Doesn't quite make it. 40 seconds on the death timer by Libic. Baron is alive. That is Baron for Gamers 2, but we've seen Reason Gaming keep up before. That we've seen them stay within the game. Dragon is up in 1 minute 30. There's the Baron going over to Gamers 2, so they have that seeding potential. Everyone goes back to base for one last time to pick up the last little finishing items for their item builds. Xayou, knowing that they've gone back, will be securing his own blue buff, but it's really getting to that point in the game, Stress, where it comes down to this last crucial team fight, and I think it's going to be around Dragon.
I mean, Gamers 2 right now, they can wait for the Dragon to come up. That is exactly what I expect them to do. It would be the smart play as well. Reason have to try and ward it and have to try and make sure that Gamers 2 don't get it uncontested. The problem is, as you said, if the last fight is at Dragon, whoever wins the last fight is very likely to be pushing through the base. This double tank composition can actually just tank up all the turrets for the rest of this game, and Celaver can just chunk them down as well. We've got 40 seconds on the timer.
There's a Rift Spirit, actually, so again, that has been smited by the junglers. Kubon does have a smite right now, so he wanted to go for Grump. They actually pinged it, and there wasn't a Grump there, so Gamers 2 in the mid lane, though. I could split from them right now. He doesn't have teleport to get into this fight, so he has to catch up to his team pretty quickly. That being said, Reason Gaming are just floating around the mid lane. You know, Ica does get the charm onto Kubon, but it's not enough damage. It does take a fair chunk of HP away from him. There's a Howling Gale to keep them zoned away. Ica still off to the right-hand side. This really is just going to come down to this last team fight, Stress.
It really will, and they're so tanky. Celaver is only still level 17. There's a little bit of under-leveling here on Reason Gaming, so those last parts of level spikes. Xayou is actually going to pop his right to score and go in.
Onto Gilius as well. There's the knockback of the Take Fun. Moves onto the back lines again with the Hemo play. Does get the E damage down. Gilius moves on to Take Fun, but he's not got the damage right now.
They've done it.
He also falls. There's 2 kills. 70 seconds on the death timers. What can they do? Gamers 2 are 3 versus 5, and Reason Gaming are still super healthy. They're pushing in to try and get the win. That's a lot of damage onto Xayou. However, Jeebus, he cannot get caught here.
I mean, they've even got minions now. Reason Gaming can just tank this up and at least get an inhibitor right now. There's just so much armor on the side of Reason that these turrets are going to medal. 40 seconds on the death timers from Gamers 2. This could just be game if Reason really want to push it.
They've taken the tower. They're now moving on to the inhibitor as well. The charm comes through, does not land. There's the Loon's Echo. He gets the pick onto Ica. Looking to lock him down. He goes out. Celaver doesn't even drop away from this one. And Jeebus and Hiva are left to try and defend the Nexus by themselves. Another 30 seconds to go. Reason Gaming are now pushing in for the win here. They have this small minion wave. Again, Hiva does not land a hook. Oh, he gets completely decimated by that damage.
That's it.
Now
Jeebus is done.
Jeebus. They just don't have the damage. 5-4-0. In fact, Hiva's still alive, but it doesn't matter because the tower goes down. There's the second one. They're moving on to the Nexus. Reason Gaming take the series 2-1. Unbelievable.
They've made their way to the promotion tournament. Reason Gaming, the team that shouldn't theoretically have been in the playoffs, have unseated the supposed second team in the European Challenger Series and find themselves now on a trip to the promotion tournament.
Wow, I think that's all I can say about that game. Unbelievable play by Reason Gaming. Goodbye, Pen. I mean, get out of
It's
here.
crazy. Everything's just the earth's
Wow,
shaking.
like that was just fantastically played. Everything that Games 2 had. They had the mid-game spikes. They pushed. They played their composition perfectly. They used the itemization spikes. They went for those mid-game plays. They picked up all of the dragons. They had that ability to win the game from there. They pushed forwards. They tried to get picks. That one mess up in bot lane while they tested their strength, okay. But then they did it again. But they did move to top turret. They took that away. It was well played by both teams. They went for what they needed to go for. But ultimately, the double tank was just ridiculous late game.
Strong.
You just can't kill them.
No way. They're so strong at that point in the game. And, you know, coming into this series, the one thing we said was that Reason Gaming have better decision-making than most challenger teams. Gamers 2 lack in their decision-making and team coordination. And that is exactly what that last game just came down to. It was a late-game composition on Reason Gaming, surviving their way through very treacherous times. 2 inhibs were down at one point, if I'm not mistaken, and they still held on.
Hey, a team who can come back late game when you have that much against you is a solid team. And I cannot wait to go into the promotion tournament and see how they do against either Rocket or Giants. Yeah, and if I was Rocket, because they have choice of who they play, I don't know who I go for.
I'd have to wait until tomorrow.
Yeah,
to
because
really
we're going to find out. Because, yeah, it's going to be Origin up against Copenhagen Wolves Academy tomorrow. Reason Gaming just looks so good in that series.
They look great in games 1 and 3.
I think
and
it
even
fine
in the early
game
game of
2.
2. Yeah, actually, I will give them credit for game 2. I think that was just a stylistic difference in
so
game 2, where the comp was just a lot better out of games 2. But just overall, Reason Gaming, the change from the group stage to the playoffs has been immense.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different team from the round robin, honestly, Stress. I mean, yeah, like once they got that second chance, and I was talking to Simon, their manager, and how much they were preparing for playoffs, then they were knocked out, and it's like, well, now we're deflated. But as soon as they got that second chance, they had so much to pull out. This final game, they kept their game plan, and maybe this was the strategy. Remember back last week, we were like, there's a strategy they're holding on to,
maybe that's
and we didn't see it. I think I found it.
Maybe that was it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Man. I mean, the Smite top laner has been seen in games. The EUCS has been seen in games. The Vladimir has been seen in games. I don't think we've seen one where it's everything together. Yeah. And it was just like, we're going to go crazy for our last game.
You said it in Champion Select. It's a conglomeration of all of those picks from each region all going into one game.
Yeah. And it worked.
Yeah, look at the innovation from this team. Absolutely fantastic. But after he helped secure his team's spot in the promotion tournament, we're joined by Libic from Reason Gaming to talk about today's game.
Congratulations, first of all, Libic. Yeah. I mean, well done on that game. That was a real close last game. What were your thoughts in the last minutes?
Sorry, could you repeat?
What were your thoughts in the last minutes of that game?
I mean, I was in the last minutes, so no idea, so stressed. But anyway, I keep calm with my voice. Tayfun always talk to us to keep calm and stay together, and we won every fight. Yeah. So we just go mid lane, and we do this, and we just win this fight.
Fantastic.
We had to tank it comp for them, and no, what can I say?
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, you stayed composed. I mean, we didn't at the caster desk. we were jumping up and down, but it was just incredible play from you guys. And now that you've won this series, you'll be facing either Rocket or Giants now in the promotion tournament. Which one of those teams? What do you feel confident against either of those teams?
I wish Rocket will choose us, and we practice a lot, and we show something good versus them. I wish they chose us.
Yeah, that would be a very exciting matchup in the promotion tournament. I wanted to take another look at that last game, the Urgot Vladimir Shyvana composition. Is that something you've worked on in practice a lot?
To be honest, no. We want to we had to surprise them. We didn't play it with Vladimir last time a lot. No,
I mean,
really.
you definitely
max
surprised
2 games
us.
we play it. Urgot we play it only solo queue. And we want to do tanky comp and to keep this to the late
It
game.
surprised us, and
Yes.
it certainly surprised gamers too as well. So congratulations on a great last game.
Yeah, mirroring Stress, congratulations once again on your win, Libby. Thank you for your time, and yeah, good luck when it comes to the promotion tournament.
Thank you.
Wow. I mean, that was one heck of a game.
It was a heck of a game, and you know just how composed Libic was there at the end.
Yeah.
It's just like I would not be like that if I was in
Stone
his shoes.
cold.
I'd be like running around the room, just running on the ceilings. Like I wouldn't be able to contain myself.
I'll be honest, that was one heck of a series.
Yeah.
Just in general, there was a little bit of everything. I mean, we saw one team really take a game very well, then the flip side of the other, and then I joked about it in between the second and third games. It's going to be a very close game, and then we're going to go super late game, and
Yeah.
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and I'm so happy as well because we mentioned at the very start of the series, Reason Gaming's decision making when it comes to late games, it's so on point. And we saw it against Origin. Eventually, yes, Origin managed to win, but again, it came down to one single team fight. So Reason Gaming, if they can take a team like that to that point, then that's a team that can definitely make LCS.
This is one of the highest points that Reason have been in Challenger now. They've never really made it to the playoffs before, so this is a great spot for them. I'm looking forward to seeing what they've got for us.
Yeah, they are within touching distance of the LCS now, Stress. But we do have a big play for you from today's matches. It is the Hecarim double kill from Game 1. This is your big play. Garrett, the nerd, wow. Kuban with a 1v2. Shout out to the huge wave of Cruz getting the assist. Hashtag Challenger big plays. Yeah, Smitty J, he'll have to go back into the angry Hecarim though if he wants to help, but he's dropping low. He might just 1v2 here. What's even happening? He has the Ignite going down. There's the Rampage. There's the Ignite. He falls over with the spear. He goes with first blood. He looks for the second.
Double
he gets
kill.
the 1-on-2. You were looking for big.
What a play.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
melee minion with the last hit is just like, got you.
best melee.
Yeah, the
minion.
revenge from them being killed over and over again by the champions.
You gotta
God's
watch out.
revenge. Yeah, it's usually the caster minions as well, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic 1v2. But with our third place match completed, RG have secured their spot in the promotion tournament in a few weeks, facing either Giants or Roccat. Our fourth place team, Gamers 2, will then join us again in the EU Challenger Series Summer Split.
They will. We'll see them after the summer holidays. But tomorrow, we'll decide which team is automatically going to join the LCS in our finals between Origin and the Copenhagen Wolves Academy, former Lowland Lions White. That best of 5 will take place live in our Berlin studio tomorrow at 6 p.m. CEST. And as for our friends across the pond, Zyrene and Freak, they'll be bringing you the North American Challenger third place game tonight at 3 a.m. CEST or 6 p.m. PDT, with their finals taking place tomorrow as well.
Yeah, and now since we are hijacking the LCS studio tomorrow in Berlin for our grand finals between Origin and Copenhagen Wolves Academy, this means you can still get tickets to join the action live and in person by heading over to lolesports.com and clicking on the tickets tab. Not many left, so get them in now. But that is all we have for today. So from myself, Stress, and our entire Berlin broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow in the LCS studio for our grand finals. It's Origin versus Copenhagen Wolves Academy.
Behind
Goes
Gamers
there
2, this
as
is
well.
dangerous.
He's looking for his explosive cast, comes in with a home guard, goes down to Jeebus, but good juke with the flash, doesn't even get anywhere near. Gillis now trades off against him on the front lines. Heaver does go down. Do they have anything in the tanks to come back in this? Smitty J did come into the fight with his own teleport. There's the ultimate onto Jeebus, but he's not strong enough just yet. He does get knocked away. Interesting mechanics as Celeber eventually knocks him down with the explosive charge. Yeah, Smitty J, he'll have to go back into the angry Hecarim though if he wants to help, but he's dropping low. He might just 1v2 here. What's even happening? He has the Ignite going down. There's the Rampage. There's the Ignite. He falls over with the spear. He goes with first blood. Looks for the second.
Double
he gets
kill.
the 1-on-2. You were looking for big plays. There's one right up.
So he puts a lot of damage down onto Ica. Gilius comes in, Ignite's already ticking. Oh, he W's into the spear.
Ica from the top side, they're looking for the dive. Zayu does not have his ultimate. He'll be following up, looking for the charm here. We'll be using another charge. He'll be getting Livic, looking for another onto Kuban. Do they have the damage? There's the Orb of Deception. One more auto attack. He'll be flashing in for the Foxfires. Zayu with the barrel roll. Not enough damage. And this could get explosive real quickly. Here's the ultimate going onto Celeber. There's the hook as well. It lands. Heaver gets the fly onto two members. Livic in the back line, zone them away. Now Kuban, Zayu were there. How much can they do? Jeebus, he is chunking through that back line, but there's the Dragon Descent back into the team fight. Eva goes down. The AD carries down for Reason Gaming. This is a 4-on spree.
Smitty J's dead.
Smitty J's down. He evaporated. That's another kill onto Jeebus. He just doesn't have the damage to deal with the Mega Tanks.